I'm letting my parents down. I'm not doing enough. Why can't I make everyone happy? As I sit at my desk, feeling the heaviness of unvoiced expectations pressing upon me, these reflections continue to surface. Each step seems to weigh more than the last, as if I am struggling to lift a boulder up a steep hill. I often find myself navigating the delicate balance between honoring the sacrifices my family has made and striving to achieve my own aspirations. Guilt quietly settles in, softly suggesting that I could be doing more and that I am letting them down. It's a heavy feeling. The sense that despite your best efforts, you might be letting down those who hold a special place in your heart. On this particular Sunday afternoon, the joyful sound of laughter echoed from the living room, mingling with the comforting aroma of home-cooked meals that filled the air. I found no reason to laugh. However, as I sat in my childhood bedroom, focused on my project with my laptop open, I could hear my parents' voices gently wafting through the door. They found themselves once again in a heartfelt conversation about retirement, reflecting on their dreams of a serene life, supported by their children as they had always imagined. My mother had earlier said, "You're doing well now." Her smile warm, yet filled with hope. Maybe we should start considering saving for ourselves too. Her words pulled at me from two different directions, lingering in the air like a heavy burden. I found myself chasing the goals I had diligently worked towards, yet a persistent thought lingered in my mind. Shouldn't I prioritize them instead? I tried to push it aside, yet the weight of the pressure seeped into every aspect of my life. I found myself reflecting deeply on each decision I made at work. Should I prioritize saving more money for my parents? Or should I embrace the opportunity towards my future business? As I tried to focus, the numbers on my screen began to blur, pulling me away from my thoughts. After missing a deadline, my inbox became overwhelmed with urgent reminders. I began to experience a sense of guilt as I realized that I was struggling at work as well. I found myself losing my temper and raising my voice at a coworker over something that, in hindsight, was quite trivial. When I finally got home, I felt completely drained. Not just from the day's events, but also from the persistent struggle within myself. As I sat at the dinner table with my parents, engaging in light conversation, I pushed aside the tumultuous storm brewing in my mind. I attempted to smile, yet each bite seemed to constrict around me, heavy with the burden of their expectations. Once again, the familiar conversation hung in the air on the next Sunday. My parents discussed retirement again, their voices gentle yet firm. This time, I paused. I paused for a moment, took a deep breath, and gently asked, "Can we talk about this?" Instead of simply nodding along. As we settled into our seats, the only sound that filled the room was the gentle ticking of the ancient wall clock, a reminder of the passage of time in this quiet space. I shared my aspirations and expressed my desire to build something lasting for everyone, not solely for my own benefit. I heard their hopes for the stability they truly needed after enduring years of hard work. We found a way to meet in the middle, even though it was a challenging process. I committed to investing in starting a new business while ensuring that a small portion of my income was set aside for them. Their smiles deepened, reflecting a growing understanding as they nodded in agreement. A warmth I hadn't felt in months replaced the heaviness I had been carrying. With intention, I navigated my tasks at work once again. In taking on new projects, I felt a deep sense of honor for both myself and my family. As the weight of guilt began to lift, a quiet sense of pride emerged in its stead. It felt as though I had returned to a place of belonging. When I found a way to weave their dreams together with my own. That conversation marked a turning point, altering everything that followed. What is it about my guilt that feels so burdensome even after all this time? There was a deep sense of responsibility to honor my family by prioritizing their needs and repaying their sacrifices with my own efforts. I carried that burden with pride, yet it also felt like a chain, binding me to expectations that often clashed with my personal dreams. With every decision to prioritize my career over their wishes, the weight of guilt deepened within me. However, my viewpoint shifted following that Sunday. I came to realize that love is rooted in understanding. You cannot truly love someone if you don't understand them. It's about fostering connections, truly listening, and collaborating to uncover a solution, rather than choosing one path over another. That truly resonated with me. The notion that I had to decide between my family and my aspirations nurtured a deep sense of guilt within me. Luckily, I found a way to honor both, much like a tree that spreads its branches wide, while anchoring its roots deep into the earth. As I initiated that conversation, the tension began to fade away. We shared a common narrative, intertwined rather than opposing. It became clear to me that love flourishes not through quiet sacrifice, but through a shared understanding. I started having regular conversations with my family, sharing not just our financial concerns, but also our hopes and fears. While our lives had its complexities, it was authentic and fostered a deeper understanding between us. I chose this path to grow, not to become the best or the greatest. Each conversation and compromise I engage in contributes to my growth as an individual, while also fostering a legacy that honors my background and my dreams. Even in moments when the expectations seem overwhelming, it is that very challenge that anchors my resolve. I pause when the feeling of guilt begins to surface. As I feel the solid ground beneath my feet, I take a moment to breathe deeply and reflect on the essence of love. It is truly about the bonds we create, rather than striving for an unattainable ideal. I reach out, engage in conversation, and let understanding guide our conversations. At this point in time, everything falls into place. I find that guilt isn't necessary for motivation. It serves as a gentle nudge to reconnect with myself. In staying true to myself, I find that I am honoring my family rather than letting them down. I sense a greater sense of completeness and a reduction in the feeling of being fragmented now. Whenever expectations leave you feeling disheartened, pause for a moment, inhale deeply, and engage in a conversation.